All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real music, music lyrics, misunderstood songs, diss and miss, and whatever other kind of information that's out here, and doing what I do in real time for just a few real people just like you right there and just like me here. All right, so Aaron Lewis. Who is Aaron Lewis? He's a pretty well known musician currently in the country music world, and I like his stuff, believe it or not. I think his stuff is really good. He was in a band called Stained. I think technically Stained is still a band, but Aaron Lewis went off to do his own thing, and he's trying to make country music country again. Good luck. He doesn't sound like Morgan Wallen. Okay, so if you know who Morgan Wallen is, all of that kind of music these days just is head scratching for me. You turn on the country station and it sounds like a bad R&B station from 1977 or something. It's sad what they've done to a truly great musical genre. But anyway, Aaron Lewis was talking to Tucker Carlson, and you could go watch that podcast or listen to it. And they were talking about Bruce Springsteen. All right, cut to the chase here. And the headline I read from Breitbart, which okay, we all want to pile on Springsteen. I'm not a fan of Springsteen, but the subject of this song, "Born in the USA," came up. All right, and the song itself, if you listen to it, you're thinking, hey, it's a patriotic song, right? That, if you don't listen to any of the lyrics, which it took years for me to really understand what he was talking about in the song, but it's an absolute scathing rebuke of the Vietnam War and the aftermath of that war, which many of us realize was one of the dumbest things the United States has ever done. Now, again, not a fan of Springsteen, don't like his politics, and he's a bit of a hypocrite. All right, let's start there. So he puts this song out, what, 1984, 1985, Born in the USA, biggest album in the country, getting radio airplay in places that he didn't used to get radio airplay. Younger, cool people are hearing this song and thinking to themselves, yeah, America, Ronald Reagan, apple pie, Bruce Springsteen. In fact, Reagan initially liked the song. And then, someone whispered in his ear and said, hey, Ronnie, this song is anti-American. It wasn't anti-American necessarily. It was critiquing the war machine. And this is my problem now with today's Democrats, okay? Sorry to go deeper into politics, but they all used to be against war. They all used to come out and say, you know what? And sometimes it was, just naked pacifism, which I don't agree with either. Sometimes it was just a knee-jerk reaction to the Republicans, but for whatever reason, they were right, okay? Even if they didn't do it on purpose, even if they didn't think it through, in hindsight, these people were all right. Bruce Springsteen had a good, I don't know, he had the right to go ahead and critique the Vietnam War era. And Aaron Lewis and Tucker Carlson knows better too, because he's been talking about all these interventions as of late. And, it's why I supported Tulsi Gabbard when she ran for president, because she talked about the war machine and the military industrial complex and all of that stuff that people apparently either don't care about or don't know about, which is bizarre to me. So critiquing Springsteen on this song and saying it's not patriotic, probably in hindsight, not a good idea, because I think the song hit a nerve and maybe caused a few people to rethink patriotism and what that means. Let's just support the war machine no matter what. Yeah, let's send money to Ukraine. So Springsteen currently supports all these people who want to basically redo a Vietnam. They want to go to Ukraine and stay there forever. They want to go and help Israel forever, and it's like, and this has nothing to do with, Russians or Jews or any of that stuff. It doesn't, it's just what we always do as a country. We always spend our money and spend our treasure, and our treasure are American lives and just resources. And again, who makes all the money here? That's what you have to look at. It's Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics. These are the people that make the money. And it's weird because Springsteen supports all of that stuff. Maybe he doesn't understand it. When you support Michael Bloomberg for president or Kamala Harris for president, guess what? You're supporting the military-industrial complex. So you're pushing back against your own song from 40 years ago, which talked about how maybe we shouldn't have gone to Vietnam. Maybe that didn't go so well. And the aftermath of all of these wars, and how many other conflicts have we been in since then? So, even though bashing Springsteen is probably a good idea, you got to bash him for the right reasons. Don't bash him because, like a broken clock, he was right here. He was definitely right on this song. Maybe this was his token Vietnam song. There have been other people that have touched on this topic in the music world, and they tend to focus more on the plight of the veteran, which is less confrontational because they're not really addressing what the government did to the veteran. They're just talking about the life of the veterans since they were involved in whatever conflict they were in. It's not patriotic to go to war. Okay, it's not patriotic. In fact, it's probably one of the worst things that you can do as a country, and you shouldn't do it unless you absolutely, positively have to do it. And you shouldn't be sending money to other countries so they can fight wars. I don't get that. So anyway, to make a long story slightly longer, the whole Aaron Lewis thing, even though I like Aaron Lewis, his take on this, I think, is a little bit off. All right. There are low-hanging fruit when it comes to Springsteen, things like his support for Kamala Harris, who would have been a warmonger in chief. Every conflict that is currently going on, she would have just signed off on or let the military brass run it, right, without much input, because what is she going to say? Whether you like Trump or not, he's trying to pull back some on this stuff. On paper, it looks like he's trying really hard to negotiate peace, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith because it always seems like the people around the president of the United States are the ones who make decisions. And sometimes they do the opposite thing to what the president is putting out in the press. And so it's really complicated. But anyway, if you're going to go after old Bruce Springsteen, go after him for his support of these ridiculous things that people have pushed back against the last few years. Our country definitely isn't anti-war, like the kind of anti-war that's knee-jerk right now. We're kind of selfishly anti-war because we want our economy to improve. We don't want our sons and daughters going off to foreign countries to die in the name of something that we can't even determine what it is. And that's just ridiculous that we're even, I mean, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, right? If you try to explain it to somebody, they'll glaze over and they'll be like, yeah, I just want to put gas in my car. I need to go buy some bread and some milk, stocking up for the snowstorm in New England. I get the eggs, the bread, the milk. So I'll be good. We'll get through it. I mean, that's what people think about these days. They don't think about foreign policy. Anyway, just wanted to talk about this because it's always a slow day in the world of classic rock. I'm still a bit under the weather here, struggling to get through this, but thank you for putting up with it. You could check out that whole interview between Tucker and Aaron Lewis. Aaron Lewis, I'm not trying to dump on you, buddy, because I like your music, I like your attitude. Um, but patriotism these days, I think, is a little different than the patriotism from 1985. I think people have wised up and keeping the weapons from being used, I think, is more patriotic than just going to war because we're America and we're the best and we're tough. Um, we have to make better decisions going forward, or the bankruptcy is only going to get worse. And I'm talking about the money, but I'm also talking about the moral bankruptcy as well.